Hey, I'm Rob Patz.
Hey, I'm Jason Webb. Rob, it's Thursday. Thrive with Rob and Jason. We've made it back.
We've made, I don't know where we went, but we were gone.
Well,
We were
we
gone.
haven't been on air for a little bit, a couple weeks.
We were gone. Hey, I went to Savannah during that time.
Yes.
I was in Savannah. And then last week I was in Columbus, Indiana, not to be confused with Columbus, Ohio. And so yeah, we've been off a couple weeks. Man, I miss doing this. I was telling Kristen that last night. We went for a walk and that was her idea because it was like 88 degrees and I don't like doing any activity when it gets over 85. I have a rule. Unless I'm in air conditioned, it's not going to happen. But we were out and we were talking about it. I was like, I really miss doing that. I know that. And I know that during the summer we have, it's a lot more hit and miss now because, to me, Memorial Day kind of symbolizes, and I think it does because for us, that was like near the end of school or the end of school. Now, so I want to ask you, because you lived in Colorado when you were a kid, did you go past Memorial Day?
We did. It was like that first week of June is usually when we finish things up. But now everybody's out of school before that. I love it personally because, like you said, Memorial Day is that shift. That's when you like, okay, it's summer. It's that break, right?
I totally get that. And for me, and I didn't check my levels. That's terrible. How am I sounding? You sound great.
Sounded good.
Okay,
yeah.
Good. I just thought of that though. But for me, when I lived in Minnesota, we got out before, like usually the Friday before Memorial Day. That was the end of school. When my mom and dad moved to Washington, they changed because they didn't start school till later. And so we went 2 weeks into June. I hated that.
I know that just seems like that's just way too much. I'm sorry. The kids need a break. Get out of there. Have fun during the summer. Take your break. We always went a little bit longer, but now, like I said, they're doing it earlier. All my kids are out and they've been out. It's been kind of crazy, but I did miss being on the show, man. This is what I love doing. We've been a few weeks out of this, so we need to get back in the routine.
It is. And so we're going to have a few shows. It sounds like I've been gone the whole time. I'll be gone again coming up and for family vacation. And I am going to the desert. I am going to the desert for family vacation. I'm going to a place called St. George, Utah.
Been there a few times. Yes.
If you don't know where it's at, it's where Zion National Park is. My family are big hikers and obviously a lot more athletic than I am at my age now. And so we're going there. We're going to Zion. We're going to do a few things. We're going to go see some stuff. We're landing in Vegas. And then we're going to go do the dam. We're going to do that. And then we're going to go up to St. George. And it looks interesting though. And I think this is the fun part about this time of year for everybody, because I don't know if you do this, but on social media, I start watching all my friends going on vacation. And a lot of times it's here in the United States. Yeah. And I want to encourage you, yes, it's cool to travel and it's great to post pictures and saying you're in Aruba or wherever you're going. But there's so much of the United States still to discover. We talked about that where we were last weekend. There's a little town called Columbus, Indiana, and if you've never been, you should go. It's super cool. It's a little ways outside of. I can't confirm exact distance because I always want to be right, because otherwise somebody on the internet is going to go, no, you're wrong. It's less than an hour to Louisville, Kentucky. It's about the same distance up to Indianapolis. So it's a little tiny town right in the middle. Cummins is from there.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. One thing you talk about vacations, you talk about trips and things. Rob, me and the family, just in the past week, we bought a camper. We bought a pool trailer.
Oh, you did that. You were there.
Yep. So we did finally do it. We're getting ready to make some memories with the family. It's something I grew up doing, going to the lakes and going to the mountains. Since I'm here in Colorado, outdoors is a big thing, which I'm going to have to get in outdoor shape. I don't know what that looks like yet, but
I am outdoor shape. I'm round. That's my outdoor. It's my outdoor. Hey. It's my indoor shape too.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Right. And we can go without meals for a while if we need to. But usually I actually eat better when I'm camping than I do at home.
Oh, totally, totally. So I love at my age now. I'm not sure I would love it as much as I did when I was a kid.
Mhm.
But when I was a kid, because my dad traveled as an evangelist a lot, we had our own RV.
Yeah.
We had a Class A RV, and I made some great memories. Last time I went, I took my mom and dad's RV, and I went and just hung out for a few days, and it was fun. People need to give it. So, would you get a trailer?
Yep, we got a pull trailer. Just it's a 32 footer. It's actually really nice. We love it. So we're already planning our camping trips. My wife's been on the hunt for spots and doing all this stuff. So we'll be taking some pictures and sharing it with the crowd here for our camping.
I want to see. Yes, I want to see. You have solar on top, so like if
we
you
do.
need,
Yep, solar
you
generator. We got all of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's it.
So
That
you
is
see, when I go camping, I'm not a tent camper.
definitely
I'm
not.
a glamper. Right? I got to have a bed. I got to have a bathroom. I do
don't
have
know
a
if men
TV in the
should use
RV.
the
Not
word
that we'll probably ever
glamping.
use it, but it's there.
I don't know about glamping for a man. I don't know. Maybe we need to take a survey
We gotta
about that.
change
I don't
that
know if a
word.
man should say glamping.
Yeah, we gotta
I'm
change
not
that
sure.
word,
I
right?
think
That's
we
my
may have
wife's
to
words.
take your man card away for saying glamping, because there are a bunch of dudes out there going, "What did he say? What was that? What's glamping?" They're googling it right now, going, "What's glamping?" It's a fancy way to say you get in a tent that really isn't a tent that has a
No,
fireplace.
I gotta come on. I got a foam topper on my mattress. Okay.
Oh, totally. I mean, so this made me think, because so when I was younger, my thing was I loved like hot dogs and stuff like by the campsite,
Oh
because
yeah,
they just tasted better.
they do, right?
And so, man, I'm jealous. That's gonna be a lot of fun. You guys are gonna have
It's gonna be a
fun.
blast. The campfires. I grew up going to the lakes, going camping, and those were core memories that I had. So we want to share that with the kids and get them out there and teach them how to fish and do all this stuff. So it's time. We've been putting it off and putting it off until the time's right, and we just said, you know what? If we wait, the time's never going to be right. Let's make it happen, right? We talk
Yeah.
about thriving with our show. We're going
Mhm.
to thrive.
Oh, that's so cool. And it really is true, though, is like there's nothing cooler than fishing. Being a boy from the great state of Minnesota, the land of more than 10,000 lakes. I mean, first time I went fishing, I was like 4.
Exactly.
And I remember 5 years old, went out with my uncles and my dad, and I caught the most fish that day. And that was, to
Is this
me,
a
I was like
fishing story,
6 years.
Rob? Is this like the fish got bigger and bigger too?
No, they were really
Okay.
small fish, but I caught the most of them.
Perfect.
Yes, they're called sun. You actually catch sunnies, and it's early in the morning. And I caught the most. They look like They look like those $half pancakes. They're very small.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's a Minnesota thing. You'd have to.
Yeah, I wouldn't know that. I probably need to check that out.
Yeah,
but you can't really eat them though. They're that little.
Oh yeah, you can. You fillet them like a little pancake.
Interesting. Okay, well, I'll have to check it out.
Yes, definitely. Hey, tell everybody about our guests. Oh, we need to do a couple of things. We need to talk about the shirts.
Oh, we do. Yeah, I don't have a shirt on today though, Rob. I don't.
I know, that's okay. It was polo day here at the office, so we decided to.
Yeah, he is King.life. It's one of our great sponsors. I usually have the shirts on. Here is the code right here, guys. Check it out. He is King.life. ATV10 is the code to get 10% off. We'll put the code up on the top corner of the screen up here for you guys to check this out throughout the whole show. But again, the apparel is amazing. Check it out. Awesome. We'll leave that up there, guys. He is King.life. Thanks, Rob. I completely forgot that.
That's okay. It's been a couple weeks. But hey, tell everybody about our guest today.
Awesome, guys. Man, today's guest is not only a man of deep faith, he's also a good friend. I've known him for about 8 years. His name's Dave Miller. It's an honor to have him with us today. Dave is the father of Keaton Charles Miller, a remarkable young man who faced leukemia with unwavering courage, humor, and strong trust in Jesus. Keaton's story has touched so many lives, and today we have the opportunity to honor his legacy and reflect on the impact he continues to have. Before we begin, I also want to thank our Thrive audience. So many of you have prayed faithfully for Keaton and the Miller family over this past year. Your prayers have mattered, and we are incredibly grateful for this community. Dave, thank you for being here and allowing us to share Keaton's story.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the invite.
Yeah, it's man, I've got to walk along a little bit of this journey with you for a while now. Man, tell us a little bit about Keaton.
So Keaton was a kid that, he was always putting, everybody else in front, and just supportive, and just a kind, gentle soul. And, really cared about his athletics, and cared about his body, and just, never harmed his body, never, did drugs or alcohol or anything. I mean,
Mhm.
he was dead set. He had a high moral compass, and he started coming on as he's going to be an elite athlete. So
That's amazing, brother. Well,
yeah.
and just seeing, I've known you for a while now, and man, your kids are the light of your life, man. You talk about them consistently and constantly, and just how you've raised them. And I've got to share some of these stories with you about Keaton going through this, and with you guys as well. And sadly, Keaton has since passed, but being able to share his story, his legacy, keeping this on, how it was all about God. I would love for you to take us back to the early days of Keaton's diagnosis. When this happened, and like really what stood out to you about how he handled everything emotionally, spiritually, all of these pieces. Because man, I want the audience to really truly know Keaton here.
Well, I can tell you, I failed miserably the day that we got the call.
Mhm.
He had, so at his high school, it's the top class in the state of Missouri, if not the country. There's 500 kids in his class, and as a freshman, he wrestled, varsity, freshman sophomore year.
Mhm.
And not only did he wrestle, he ended up taking second team all conference. And that's even when finding out that he had cancer, probably over 60% of the season.
Wow.
So, we chased it. We chased it. We knew something was wrong. We've taken to every specialist. We couldn't find anything. And, he would go run a mile and come back and say, man, I'm exhausted. I'm going to go run 2 miles. And, we'd go to a tournament, and he would wrestle, all weekend, and come home, and I'd hear weights clanking down. He's just like, Dad, I just got to get better.
Mhm.
And so we had some preliminary, I mean, we did a heart test and a lung test and a COVID test and asthma test. And the problem is when he would take his shirt off, I mean, he was, 5'10", 157 pounds, bench 230, squat 400. And, he had a 12 pack.
Just
So
everything looked good. Yeah.
we couldn't get
Mhm.
anybody to take him seriously. And then we got the call that it was confirmed that, you know, he did have leukemia, and we had to go pick him up at school, and we couldn't tell him where we were going because we had to confirm it with, the Children's Mercy. So,
Mhm.
um, when I took the call, I mean, I lost it. I mean, I broke stuff. I cursed God. I threatened God at, you're not taking my son. How dare you? And, all the stupid stuff that you do
Mhm.
um, when you're emotional. But, um, when we went in there, and, the guy's like, how do you want me to communicate? He's like, yeah, I want to know. Don't dumb it down.
Mhm.
And he's like, hey, you got leukemia, and we don't know exactly which one. And within 24 hours, he was on chemo, and
Wow.
he never batted an eye. He never cried. He never, he said, let's go to work. I want to beat this thing. And we were
Man.
opposite. As parents, we were completely opposite. We were pretty wrecked.
Oh, I'm sure, brother. Like, I remember that first time that you told me, and just not couldn't even fathom things on this. The one thing that stood out to me was that work ethic that you guys instilled in him. Like you just talked about him working out, and just doing all these things, always wanting to get better. It continued with this fight, saying, hey, look, we're just gonna keep working. We're just gonna push through this. Spiritually, like his faith was just unwavering through every step of this, and all the conversations that I've had with you. How did he take that spiritually?
You know, um, he did not want to die. I mean, he was pretty
Mhm.
clear about that. He's like, I'm 17 years old. I have my whole life ahead of me, and I want to do great things, and I want to, do things for people. And one of the things looking back is, everything that he did in the community the whole time of them 13 months was touch people and change the community. And when you're in the battle, you don't see little wins like that, but we just had major win over major win. And the longer he went, the stronger he got. The worse things got. I mean, at the end, I mean, he was praying for the nurses that were non-believers. He wanted to pray for kids across the hallway.
Amazing.
It was absolutely amazing.
Well, as he was enduring treatment, man, a lot of these stories, again, just being around you, being with you, talking to you through these things, as he was enduring these treatments, which are, they're devastating to his body and just everything, and to the whole family. But man, he kept ministering through this. That's one of the things that stuck with me through this. How he shared his faith with the doctors and the nurses, and he was always talking about that, even in the most difficult moments. And I'd love for you to share, like, is there a story that just really stood out to you that just you'll remember forever?
Yeah, I mean, we call it his church bed, not the hospital bed. I would say probably the most prominent was probably 2 days before he passed. There was a nurse. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was a male nurse. And Keaton said, "Hey, man, do you believe in God?" And the guy's like, "No, nobody's ever really said anything about him. What is it about?" And he's like, "Well, can I pray for you?" And so my daughter was actually sleeping in the room and woke up, and the nurses, kneeled over on the side of the bed, and Keaton's over him praying. And yeah, it just
That's amazing, man. It gives me chills.
yeah, it's and it's amazing. And at the last day we got to talk to him before he passed. He had a mask, so he
Yeah.
basically, respiratory failure. He just, so anyway, we communicated on his phone. He texted or, typed stuff in there. And, he pre-planned his whole funeral, and he's like, I want it to be a celebration. I want an altar call. And that's exactly what we got. We had an altar call at his funeral and had 32 kids come up and get saved. So
That is incredible to see that, man. And just who has that at a funeral, man, and be able to change lives. That's incredible, brother. You and your family, have went through this battle together. Your wife and kids and everybody. What did this season teach you about faith, parenting, power of community, all of these things? Because there's a big community, Team Keaton on Facebook, that people can check out to find, watch through his journey and everything else. But tell me about your faith walk, the parenting stuff that you learned through this, and the community stuff.
Well, so, I was born in a very devout Christian family, and my dad should have really been a pastor or minister or whatever you want to call him. And we were the Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday, never miss a day. And very spiritual. And, like I said, at the beginning of this process, I just had pure hatred, and I was red blind. And, then conviction started hitting me, and I felt like such a hypocrite because, people that don't even know God, if something bad happens in their family, the first thing they say is, why, God, are you doing this? And it's like, you're talking to somebody you don't even believe. Why are you posting your blame? So I felt such hypocritical that, it takes my son having cancer and fighting for his life for me to spiritually go back and be correct. And the minute that I did that and broke the seal and just got convicted and dropped on my face and begged for forgiveness, it made things tolerable. So much stuff is so intolerable, and it's so difficult, and it's hard. And I asked God, I'm like, God, I want to grieve, and I want to go through this, and I don't want it to be easy. I just pray that it's bearable. And without that faith, I wouldn't have that, Jason. I mean, it's the only thing that gets me day to day is Jesus Christ.
Dude, I love that, man. I appreciate you sharing that. The emotions are a part of this, brother. Just God was present in every moment of this, and just seeing your faith walk, as in the time that I've walked through this with you, it's been incredible. The journey that I've got to see within you, the family, and just the pieces that we've talked about. What were some of the moments in Keaton's fight where you clearly felt God? Because I know there's multiple times that you told me this, but that you felt God's nearness, like in certain instances. I know, and you talked about being outside the church and talking to somebody that had another child in the hospital as well. but there's so many times that I got to talk to you about this, and you said, "Man, I felt God today." Tell
Yeah.
us some of those stories.
One of the biggest, so when I was praying for God, I was praying for, we needed new lungs. We needed them. They were just falling apart. We knew we needed new lungs. And I, begged God, I'm like, not only do I want a miracle that nobody can debunk. I don't want half good. I want brand new lungs. I want lungs better than when he came in here. And, I prayed that and prayed that and prayed that. And one day he just started going south. And within 3 hours, he was on life support, ECMO. He was on a ventilator. He was on dialysis. He was fighting for his life. And, there's a lot of things that you don't understand, like life support. You can only go on that one time in your whole life. And there's over a 5% chance that when you go on that they blow out your main artery or your heart or your brain. There was so many things that just, that's coming out of there. So with that being said, technically somebody on life support, generally it's about a 7-day window, and it's either you come back or it's death. So anyway, the miracle, we'd prayed over him, and 3 days into the process, he come off the ECMO life support. The next day he come off the dialysis, and the next day he came off the ventilator. And really one of the biggest miracles was they do rounds. So they do them like 3 a.m. and 7 a.m, and they shift update. And so anyway, the nurse had come in, or the doctor, and said, "Hey, what's the respirator?" And the woman said, "Well, it's on standby." And she's like, "What are you talking about standby?" He's like, "He's over breathing the ventilator."
Wow.
And she said, "That's impossible." And she walked in there, and sure enough, and couldn't believe it. His lungs were not healed. So for 3 days after that, he was 21%, which is what normal people, and he was 100% saturated, meaning he was getting 100% oxygen. So he was absolutely normal human being, which they have never seen that in the history at Children's Mercy. And I can tell you, they take on thousands of kids.
That's
incredible.
You say 3 days, right? Symbolism. We've talked about that too. It's crazy.
But what really, so after he came off ECMO, I know he saw God. I know he talked to God. I know something happened spiritually, because he was very clear to say, "Listen, I've looked for this all my life and I haven't found it, but I can tell you I've found it, and you can't get it here. And it's the most amazing thing." And he was just 100%, 100% transformed. And
that's so cool, man.
Yeah.
I know you touched on this at his service, that 32 young lives were changed, that they gave their lives to Christ.
Yeah.
I would love for you to talk about, Keaton's story here. You're starting to share it publicly. You're coming on the network. You're going to other schools, and you're doing Bible studies with kids at your house.
Sure.
I'd love for you to talk about how God has continued to use his life to bring encouragement and hope to others.
Oh, it's every day something's popping up. So again, one thing that Keaton had talked about at his funeral, he wanted a service. He didn't want, and we did a full service on, what it is to be a Christian, how to be a Christian, and what needs to happen. And like I said, they did an altar call. And so 32 kids came up. And so my wife went and bought 40 Bibles. And one of Keaton's biggest things was he wanted a Bible study on our deck. And we just happen to have a huge deck that accommodates 50 people, and which we've never utilized since we've lived here. And so, yeah, they all came. They've got Bibles. And since then, other families have stepped up, and we do it on Tuesday nights. And we're rotating it through. And the teens are actually leading it. All I do is I cook them food, get a bunch of sodas, and they do the rest. And it's amazing.
That's awesome, brother. Me and Rob love our food, brother. Did you know this? We definitely don't shy away from that. But Keaton's legacy here, man, I've seen this. We were just together in Texas a few weeks ago, and when you got back, you had Bible study, man. I saw pictures. I saw it on Team Keaton. Again, check out Team Keaton on Facebook, guys, to learn more about the story and follow more about what's going on, to be a part of this. what does Keaton's legacy mean to the church today, mean to your community? Because I know you talked about the school being, talking to you guys about doing some more stuff, the church, like you've talked about a few of these things.
Yeah. So, I mean, they had a prayer, a prayer session at school. It was towards the end of the year, and there was like a couple days left in school, and 350 kids showed up and were praying. And the most impactful is we got a letter from a guy that's been a devout Christian, and he says, "Hey, I seen people out there that were pure atheists that I have begged them to read scripture, listen to me, and they were legitimately praying." And he just, said it was just amazing. And if anything, the biggest benefactor from my son is me. I mean, he's brought to me humility. He's brought to me, I need to be better. I need to put others first. And he's just really taught me that, as Christians, we have a civic duty and we got a responsibility, and we need to take it seriously, and we need to execute on a daily basis. And he lived it, and I live it. And I know a lot more people are looking at me more today, and I will not fail him, and I will not fail God.
I love it, brother. I love it, man. I would love to pray for us, if that's okay. Pray for you, pray for your wife, pray for the family,
Sure,
and just pray for
please
Keaton's
do.
legacy. So, Father God, I just we come to you today, just grateful for Keaton, for what you had brought through him to this earth. It was a short amount of time, Father, and you just put so much of you through him to just spread his legacy, spread your legacy as he lived his life to just glorify you, Jesus. And he got to do that, and he's continually doing that. Father, I ask that the Holy Spirit be present in Dave's family here as they just go through this, and that they keep on Keaton's legacy of trying to introduce people to you, as everything that they do glorifies you, Father. I just ask for protection for their family, for their ministry that they're building, and that you just guide them, that you keep in step with them, Father. And man, open up doors that they need to be opened, and just show them what you can do in just everyday life, Father. We pray all this in your son's holy name. Amen. Man, thank you
Awesome.
so much, Dave.
And thank you for your show and your followers. I can tell you, a lot of people were upset when we did not get the final verdict of the final win, but I can promise you all your prayers mattered, and they help, and they're getting us through it. So if you are praying for us, please keep doing so.
Totally, man. Thank you so much, Dave. This has been incredible. And man, I can't wait to talk more about this and see where this ministry goes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Dave. Man, I appreciate it. I'm humbled to see what a great life, and what a great celebration of what you're doing to continue to honor his legacy.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
that one was tough, man.
That's a different episode of Thrive, man, but it definitely needs to be brought out there. So, man, incredible. Keaton's life, all he did was thrive. Even up till the very end, he's going through all these things, and man, he found a way to thrive.
Yeah, he did. And just keep the family in your prayers, and we appreciate Dave coming on and sharing his heart. You could tell it was just straight from his heart, man. Oh, whoa. I would love to jokingly say that the way we normally do, but sometimes we really have to go out and know that God is with us, and we still every day He wants us to go out and thrive.